tuned for Airgun Detectives.
Welcome to another episode of Airgun Detectives. Today we're going to take the mystery out of the Gamo Swarm Magnum. Before we get started though, I would ask you please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button down below. And if you like what we're doing, a thumbs up is always great. We appreciate it, or any other feedback. And if you would like to be notified of our new videos coming out, hit the little bell, and each time we produce a new video and put it out there, you'll be notified. Okay. Back to the business on hand. We're going to review here the Gamo Swarm Magnum. I have quite a few Gamo guns, and this is one of my favorite. It's a big gun. It's a long gun. It only weighs about 7 pounds. It does not come with this scope, and it does not come with the Bullseye ZR rail. What it comes with is this standard little 3x9 by 40 scope. It's a non-adjustable objective. One thing I will tell you about this gun, it does have a heavy recoil. The cocking effort on this is, they claim 40 pounds, I'm telling you, it's no less than 45 pounds, the cocking effort on this gun. It's got a large gas piston in it, and with that has a heavy recoil. This has their, what they call the recoil reducing rail, this bottom one. Well, I've blown out several scopes using their recoil reducing rail, so I personally don't think it works that well. But anyway, that's why there's a different scope on here, and I just wanted something with an adjustable objective where we can get a nice good sight picture. This has the 10-round magazine, which is right here. Just simply pops out here. You drop pellets right into this little rotating magazine. You just drop one in at a time, and then it rotates. And then what's great is it actually has numbers on the top of this, as you can see right here. And that tells you how many shots that you have left. So obviously you don't want to dry fire a Breakbarrel or any of those type of spring or gas piston rifles. But the magazine is a very, very nice feature, and you'll see that when we go out and test this out. This gun here is the shrouded barrel, so this has Gamo suppressor on it, and believe me, it does make a difference. I have one that does not have a suppressor. That's the Magnum, and it does make a difference. Now, this is about, I think they're selling one that's non-shrouded and then one that's shrouded. This gun runs right about $300, and that's with the standard scope. And of course it comes with a one-piece scope rail and the recoil reducing. Now this thing does have the cat trigger, which is terrific. That's called a custom action trigger. It's pretty adjustable. Now I actually, if you can see in the bottom here, I'll show you right here in the bottom, there's a screw that goes right behind the trigger, and that goes into the sear. Now I replaced that trigger with a metric 2.4 by 4.5 by 10 millimeter. And what that did is, I actually took it, I used a socket screw. And what you do is you replace the stock screw in there, and this screw is a little bit longer. And what you can do is put a little bit more pressure on the sear. What it does then, it lightens up this trigger. Now, you do this at your own risk, okay? If you're not a professional or a gunsmith, you know, I wouldn't do it. I'm comfortable doing it myself, but you can turn this into a hair trigger, and that's something you don't want to do. You don't want this rifle to go off unless you pull the trigger. So you can replace that screw, but you just have to be very careful in how much pressure. You don't want to put too much pressure on the sear, because then you're reducing the amount that it catches on the trigger. So keep that in mind. But you can adjust it and get this trigger, you know, probably, I'm going to say right at 3 pounds, if not under, just a hair. So, Gamo is, you know, they claim all kinds of feet per second, what have you, but they're claiming, from what I understand, that you can get about 27 foot-pounds of energy. That's a lot out of a Breakbarrel Magnum rifle. But we're going to go ahead and test that. We're going to, we'll go through and we'll see what type of world or real true world feet per second we get out of this. We'll do a little accuracy test, and obviously we'll go on to plinking. So stay tuned and we'll move on to the next segment. Okay, we've got our Gamo Magnum Swarm here, and we're going to see what realistic feet per second we get out of this. This gun likes the field target trophy, the 14.66 grain pellets. So let's see what type of velocity we get out of that. Let's just do 5 shots over the crony. Hopefully this crony will work for us, and we'll see what we get. Shot number 1. 913. Shot number 2. That's some good foot-pounds of energy. 912. Shot number 3. 913. Shot number 4. 916. And shot number 5. 905. Those are some pretty impressive numbers if you think about, because you're shooting a 14.66 grain pellet, and that's some serious foot-pounds of energy. Let's move on to our next segment. Okay, let's try our Gamo Magnum Swarm and see how accurate we are. We're about just a hair under 20 yards. We're almost at 20 yards, 19 and change. And I like this distance because you can kind of see what the accuracy is. It's a little windy today, so we're somewhat protected. So we're going to try to see what the potential is. I go through literally hundreds of pellets. I mean, look at this. To try to narrow down the best shooting ones. And you might find even a better shooting one. This is just what I've had luck with. So I'm going to shoot the field target trophies, the 14.66. Let's just take 5 shots and see how we do. Of course, I probably do a lot better off camera than on camera, so let's see what we got here. All right. Let's see, shot number 1. There's 1. Remember, we look for grouping on these, not so much bullseye. Let's see, shot number 2. There's shot number 2. And shot number 3. And shot number 4. This is about a 50-pound cocking effort, maybe 49.50, just so you know. Here we go. And last but not least, and there you go. Not a bad group, actually. And I have done better at times, but that just gives you a little idea. This is not going to be more of a plinking and a target shooting. This would be more of a hunting rifle, if that's something that you want to do. When it comes to hunting, just remember, don't ever shoot anything unless you're going to eat it. Seriously, don't ever shoot it unless you're going to eat it. Beyond that, let's move on to the next segment. Okay, welcome back. We're going to do a quick trigger test on our Gamo Magnum Swarm here. The triggers on these are the CAT triggers, the custom action triggers, and there is adjustment on it. There's a small screw right back behind the trigger blade that engages the sear. And you got to be careful, but you can actually change out that screw with a M3 4-45 10mm. And what you do, it has a little more depth where you can put just a little bit more pressure on the sear, and it actually lightens up the trigger. So let's go ahead and test this and see what we got. All right. £2, 14 ounces. It's a good trigger. It really is. There's a lot of adjustments. But if you're not comfortable, Don't change out that screw. If you are comfortable, you can play with it, but you could potentially make turn this into a hair trigger, and you don't want to do that because you'd be putting too much pressure on the sear. So you just want a little bit more engagement, and it makes it actually turns it into a really nice trigger. So let's move on to the next segment. We've got our Gamo Magnum Swarm here. We have our little plinking range set up. We're about 40 yards out. As you can see, we're quite the distance. Actually, if we look up at the target, that's where we're shooting from. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to knock down some of those steel targets. Keep in mind, we're 40 yards away, so if you're using this gun for hunting, let's see how accurate it would be. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to bench rest it, but let's see how well we would do. All right, let's start from the right. And this thing has some serious foot-pounds of energy. Let's go for the pig next to it. And see the advantage of the magazine, you just cock it and go again. Oh yeah. Keep in mind, those are steel targets that are usually set up for like long rifle. And can we hit the little egg from here? That's the question of the day, especially on camera. Outstanding. So there's your Gamo Magnum. Hang on and we'll wrap this up. All right, let's wrap this up with our conclusion here about the Gamo Swarm Magnum. As you saw, it's actually quite the performing gun. It is a little effort to cock, like I said. I'm telling you, it's somewhere between the mid 40s as far as, in my opinion, in the cocking effort. So yeah, it's a pretty good little workout if you want to shoot multiple shots out of this. But the fact is that you can get a rifle, as you saw, that puts out 27 foot-pounds of energy, a 10-shot repeater. That's terrific. I mean, that's terrific, and have pretty good accuracy. You saw what we were doing plinking at 40 yards. This gun in the 22 caliber and the way it's set up with a heavy cocking effort, this is primarily set up for hunting. I don't think you would want to do a lot of plinking with it just because of the cocking effort, unless you want to combine your gym workout along with your shooting as a form of exercise, which is always a possibility. One thing I will say is the recoil reducing rail, to me, is not worth a damn. Did I just say that? Yes. Okay, I apologize, but it's not worth a darn. The scope that it comes with, it's okay, but there's no adjustable objective. So if you're going to be shooting less than 20 yards, 25 yards, then you can't focus it. So I prefer an adjustable objective. So plan on upgrading the scope. The bullseye mount, that's a great bonus because it just ensures that your scope's going to last, because it takes that recoil away. The custom action trigger, as you saw, what type of performance we got out of that. Of course, I did alter it from the stock trigger, which actually, you know, that reduces it a couple of pounds, just so you know. But like I said, again, that you adjust the trigger, do any of this stuff at your own risk. If you're not a professional, not comfortable with doing this, then I would not even mess with it. But overall, it's a good gun. Gamo puts out a pretty solid product. I'm going to give this one 4.5 stars. If the cocking effort wasn't such a beast, maybe it would have got a little bit higher, but I think 4.5 is solid. This is a really good break barrel rifle, and it's around that $300 price point, but then figure you're probably going to have to upgrade with the scope, so you'll have a couple dollars put into this. Now I've shot half-inch groups of this at 20 yards, and it can be somewhat accurate for as powerful as it is, because it does have a recoil. And that was shooting, I think, the 14.66 grain field target trophies. Those are like a really good pellet for this. So anyway, that's kind of my opinion on the Gamo Swarm Magnum. If you like what you've seen, please give us a little thumbs up if you can, and do us a favor, please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And if you'd like to be notified of our new videos coming out, just hit the little bell below the caption there. Again, thank you for tuning in to an episode of Airgun Detectives, where we take the mystery out of the airgun.